Do you feel the pressure to grow your business, but doing so feels a bit like drowning? Welcome to Slow Growth Business, the show for business owners and leaders to quiet the noise and lead your business to success, one day at a time, slow and steady. If you feel your business is running you and you're ready to run it, you've come to the right place. Now, here are your hosts, business coaches Jimmy DeGroat and me, Kyle Bullock.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
We'll have to start from the top because I accidentally moved my hand and unplugged everything.
Okay.
Oh, all right, from the top.
All right. So, ready?
Let's go.
Fictitious jewelry store. Okay. We'll say the owner's name is Jesse. Okay.
Great. That was good.
Pick a town in Texas.
Pick a town in Texas. Let's go with Abilene.
Abilene,
Texas.
Does George Strait have a great song about Abilene?
Ooh, I mean, maybe.
I think he does. He does.
It's the most West Texas-y looking town you can imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
This, I thought that would be where you were this last weekend. The most West Texas town.
Okay, so let's have an aside here. I used to live in Texas, so here's the map of Texas. It's by hand for those who are listening, in the form of like a gun. In the middle of that is basically Dallas. Down at the bottom, you've got Houston and San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Okay, in the panhandle that nobody cares about is Lubbock and then Amarillo's up here. And then Midland, Odessa, go a little bit further down here. I live near those places now. Then they call them the hairy-legged women of Austin, right down there, the liberals. Okay. And then there's this part over here that's my thumb. Yeah. My thumb is El Paso. And El Paso is like Texas, but not really Texas, because it's kind of too far away from Texas to be Texas, but they still have white license plates in the shape of Texas. So they're part of it. But it's actually more New Mexico. It's
great. Now, what about West Texas?
West Texas?
Yeah.
Well, again, Lubbock is here. Abilene's going to be over here. Amarillo's up here. So I went with Abilene.
All right, gotcha.
Remember, we're not talking about Texas. We're talking about Jesse and Abilene, who's made up.
Jesse and Abilene. All right.
And you just got a Texas geography lesson out of it. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Love it. Anyway, all right, so you and I have customers that we deal with at various levels in their desire for repair or goals or what have you in their businesses, right?
Yeah.
And so this morning, you and I chatted with Jesse from Abilene, and it was a very interesting situation where he's kind of like everything in the store. But on the other hand, he's got a staff there, a group of people that can take on and do more things or do some of the things that he doesn't maybe want to do. And so he mentioned in our call that he wanted to, retire from the business.
In a couple of years, it was like not like an immediate.
Right.
Maybe in a couple of years we'll get there kind of thing.
Yeah, a couple of years we'll get there kind of thing. So, I mean, it's funny because sometimes we'll get that call and they'll be like, they're the only person and him and his wife and, one other part-time person. Now we got to figure out a whole structure for, the ongoing, business ongoing. So he's kind of got a sweet situation there a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the Jessies of the world, where they are very key to the business day to day, transaction to transaction. And how do we begin stepping out of that? How do we start, thinking about doing something else? And in his situation, he didn't know what that something else was. He just thought maybe it'd be a good idea that I should sort of retire, think about retiring someday. So we're at square one here.
Yeah.
What do we do?
I'm thinking of another situation, another client I spoke with a few months ago, and we're going to come up with more fictitious names and names of places in Texas. We'll call this person Melissa, and she lives in Pecos, Texas, down here.
Pecos.
Pecos, Texas. so she's telling me a similar story. Now, Melissa is in maybe her early 70s. That she and her crew have been around in that store for a very long time. They've started the company. It's done very well. They're very happy, right? And she's like, I'm thinking about one day I might have to do something with a business and I need to get more employees and it's hard. She's kind of telling me just the general shop talk.
Right.
And I said, okay, so like, what's your plan to retire? And she goes, it's not. And I go, oh,
okay.
So like, so what's
good?
What's the goal? And she goes, I think we're tired.
Did she mention death at all?
Basically,
was she planning on dying at all?
I think she's going to die
Right.
eventually. Hopefully not soon. I wish you well.
Right. Not planning.
Not planning on it. But essentially was like, look, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
All right.
At most, I think what I'm going to do is less. Maybe I just stopped it. But I also don't really want to do anything different. Like like things are good.
Yeah.
And so
me.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. Could things in the store have been wildly better? Absolutely. Like you could totally diagnosed 100 different things that would increase profit and efficiency and technology and da. But she's like, I just don't want to do it. Like I'm happy and I want to sunset this thing. And yeah. And I left that conversation being reminded that is a plan and it is totally okay.
You bet.
If it aligns with your values, and for Melissa in Pecos, Texas, it did. Now, that is not everyone's story.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking this morning, both with the client and then afterwards, reflecting on when you kind of face that, what am I going to do next? What's after this job? Should I retire? Should I look for a new job? Should I go to, what should I do? Yeah. It's kind of itching. It's kind of scratching at this thing that's a deeper sense of value. Like, is your heart nagging you to do something else?
Right.
Because there is totally an option where you don't have to do that. Like you can sunset the thing, and there is no shame in that at all. And I want to be the first in the industry to say that is totally a plan, and it is a great plan. If that is your value, do that, and then don't apologize for it. Like. That's great. That's great.
No, and I got to agree with you there. And the thing about it is that she knows what she wants. And I love that because we talk to a lot of people that don't have a plan for the future and don't know what it is or have a plan or can be that definitive. I totally respect the person that say, I want to sunset this. I'm going to do a GOB someday, and I'm going to take that money and I'm going to share it with my employees and share it with myself, and we're all going to go and golf or fish or whatever or open a dog rescue, spot to rescue doggies.
Yeah.
So
that's great too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to volley it back to you.
Yeah.
What Melissa from Pecos, Texas taught me, and subsequently after that, is that you have, whatever you're going to do, as you think about what's next, it speaks to a deeper sense of value and a deeper sense of purpose. And ultimately, we all want to have, and hopefully we all pine for this, a deeper impact in the world around us, that what we're doing matters, not just to me, but to the rest of the world. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
So with that in mind, and someone's kind of sitting there scratching their head going, well, I think I'm supposed to sunset. I'm supposed to retire. That feels like I am tired. Yeah. How do you invite them to look at what is your value? What is your next step? Where would you tell that person to start exploring?
I'm going to throw it right back to you because you are going to do a thing coming up in July. And this is, if you are at one of the shows that we're speaking at in July, this is a little preview, little exercise. And if you come with this in hand, you're going to be steps ahead. And that is your little exercise for your epitaph or your, what do we call that?
Your obituary.
Your obituary. Yeah, exactly. Or what do we call it at a funeral? The eulogy, right? Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So tell us what that looks like. How do you do that?
It seems like a morbid exercise, but
It's wonderful.
But when you do it, it really is. It normally happens, the way you do this exercise is that you invite people to write their own obituary. And in that, you want them to say, what do you want people to say about you when you're dead and gone? All right.
Mm-hmm.
The things that people say. And so you write it, and it can get emotional, like the reality of that and existential and all that stuff. But what you get out of it is what matters to you, right? What your values really are.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say this with your experience too, Jimmy. How many stores have we gone into, talked to, that have a value statement, like they have a statement of values or core values or mission statement, right? That don't mean...
No. It's corporate-y.
Yeah.
It's all corporate-y.
I cannot, not to throw everyone under the bus, but I am. I have never seen another store with a values or mission statement that's really weighty, like really like gets you, right?
Yeah.
There is a method to doing that, and we've crafted those people and stuff. I've never seen one before in the jewelry industry that's really impactful. But that obituary, that epitaph, is a way to get there, because it shows you what matters to you so much that you want people to remember you for that.
Yeah.
And once you've looked at your obituary or eulogy that you've written for yourself, you got to ask yourself a very tough, reflective question. Is what I'm doing right now fulfilling the purpose of that obituary?
Yeah.
If I keep working at the jewelry store for X number of years and I sunset the thing, will that be, because that's what people are going to remember me for. They'll remember you for your time and how you spent your money and how you spent your time and how you spent your resources.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will that feed into that obituary? You know?
There is a wonderful Christian teacher named Father Richard Rohr in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He runs the Center for Action and Contemplation, which are two different things, action and contemplation. Anyway, but what he does is he talks a lot about the first half of life and the second half of life kind of concerns. And the idea is that the first half of life, we spend all of our time gathering and planning and getting, and, we really focus on the get and the stuff. And the second half of life, many people that even pass away don't ever enter the second half of life, where you're thinking of now things eternal, and as opposed to things of this world. Interestingly enough, I'm not trying to make this a Christian podcast, but it seems like the people that have those plans, like you're talking about, those mission statements, tend to be more second half of life type of thinking. Bigger thinking. What happens when I'm gone? What do I want people to say about me? How do I want to affect the world? Or not only what's the best version of myself, but how can I help the people that I influence, i.e. pay in my business? How can I help them be the best version of themselves and have an amazingly fulfilling life? And boy, that's a great place to get to. I think once you get there, you are on jet fuel for achieving whatever your plans are.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm going to share with you a story. You brought up Father Rohr, and I'm going to bring up someone I was listening to just this morning. All right. He's also a minister, and he was compelled to give away all of the royalties from a very successful book that he had written.
Okay.
It was over $1 million in royalties. Okay. And he took a very average, if below average, salary every year, and has since gave over $1 million, all of it away, just gave it all away. And he was talking about where that came from. And there was a guy, his name is eluding me. I believe his first name was Nathan, but please look this up, folks. With a group ministry that he created called Mossy Foot. I believe it's called Mossy Foot. You have to look this up. Anyways, This guy was a doctor. And throughout his entire life, after him getting his doctor license, that's not the correct term. Medical license.
Doctorate?
Obviously, I'm not a scientist. The special doctor.
You sort of are, though.
You
sort of are.
Not a medical doctor. Anyways,
all right.
You became a medical doctor, and he spends all of his life, 60 years of service in Ethiopia, working on this issue with a foot disease that would completely debilitate people. Okay. And he was the only guy in Ethiopia who would do the process surgery to save these people's lives. Okay. Mm-hmm. 60 years he's doing this. He's the only guy doing it. He moves to Ethiopia, dedicates his life doing it, raises the money so that they can save more and more lives. He tells a story about this guy who, at one point, he has to leave Ethiopia because he has a toothache. So he leaves. It's a bad infection. It's not like an owie.
Sure.
It's bad. So he's forced to leave Ethiopia to go to Europe to have this work done.
Procedure.
Sure, yeah. When he gets to the dentist, they go, yeah, we need to do this. And the guy says, I never want this to happen again. I never want to have to leave Ethiopia for something like this that could for me happen again. And I don't want to leave the mission field. So I want you to remove every one of my teeth.
Oh my goodness.
And give me dentures so I can stay there and help these people.
Oh my goodness.
Hills, okay?
That's commitment.
Now, How does a person, you hear that story, okay? And by the way, end of his life, he's been there for decades. His daughter brings him to the United States for kind of end-of-life care. And he goes, I don't even want to be here. I would rather go to Ethiopia where the drugs aren't great and I'm probably going to hurt. But that's my people. Let me die in Ethiopia. And that's what they do. Now, you hear that story and you go, how does a person like that have that much dedication? I could never have that much dedication. And it totally rings to what you just said, Jimmy. He is in that second, he's in a bigger picture frame of mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And how does this translate for all of our jewelry store owners and managers and out there in retail listening to this podcast and they're going, did he just tell me to go remove all my teeth from jewelry? No. Okay, don't do that necessarily.
Or move to Albuquerque for the center of contemplation.
Right. What I mean is, to get to that deeper life's mission, that deeper sense of calling, it starts with looking at the bigger picture, backing up from yourself.
Yeah.
And asking, okay, if I'm at a crossroads here and I'm thinking about 10, 15 years, or if that in my life, what will it stand for? And and what will I be willing to spend to make that impact? What will it cost me? Maybe time? Maybe it means I have to give up some of my duties to get there. Maybe it means I'm going to work less. Mm-hmm. Maybe it means like this other guy, I'm going to work more and every penny is going to go to this.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. My buddy Doug is a great inspiration. You and I have had sushi with him.
Yeah.
He is working diligently to improve entrepreneurialism in South Africa and just doing amazing things, wonderful things, helping people out over and above his little jewelry store, And I say little jewelry store because compared to the world, it's very little, right?
Right.
But I mean, here's a guy that's got a big picture of things. Now, this isn't meant to condemn anybody that doesn't have these big lofty goals to go save the world. But it starts with taking care of our family, sending our kids to college, maybe taking care of mom and dad in their old age, what have you. So we all have wonderful intentions then. And maybe this just allows you to say, okay, do I have enough? It's another question I love that you ask. Do I have enough? How much is enough? And then what's my function in this world beyond that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my store has hit $2 million. I'm making making a great living. Now, what do I do beyond that?
Yeah.
So,
and there's never a number. I want to say want to piggyback on what you said. There's not a number or even a big picture that's better than the other. Okay. Like what I mean by that is, okay, the story of this guy in Ethiopia, he's not better than you and I.
No.
Because of Ethiopia. He was dedicated.
Yeah.
And nobody has the mission that he had, right? It was so ingrained, and he does end up passing it on to other iterations who pick up the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story of, Rick Moranis, the actor, and he stops appearing in movies around the 80s sometime or 90s sometime.
Yeah.
He retires from
the Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. Now, rumor has it he might be in Spaceballs 2 coming out next year.
Ooh, baby.
But
and there's a new Naked Gun coming out in August.
Don't get me sidetracked. Those are my goofy movies. Okay. But why does Rick Moranis disappear from acting? Well, if I remember the story right, family tragedy happens, and he just says, "Look, I made enough." He said, "I made enough money. I'm good. I can set myself up, be secure, because what's most important to me is to be at home with my family." And so he does. And he disappears out of the spotlight. And could he have gone on and made millions more dollars, been the, headline in movies for decades to come? Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
That was not his calling, because that wasn't what mattered to him the most.
Right.
And I love that, because I don't know, to our listeners, I'll speak to you directly now. I don't know what your mission is. I don't know what your vision is. But this little exercise we talked about invites you to envision that. And here's what's great. When Jimmy and I work with clients, there is a whole bunch of tools in our tool bag and methodology that we've used over and over to help people grow their companies, grow their freedom, grow their profit, and help people in the process. We can do that, but it only really works. It only makes amazing impact if you come to us and say, I want to do that because of this greater mission. And we cannot tell you what that greater mission is. We cannot tell you what the vision is.
Right.
But when you get it, when you see it, when you put it on paper and you go, oh my gosh, this is it. What do I do with it? That's when we get excited, because that gives you something to work towards that will change the world.
And that's when you'll do something. If you don't have that, if you don't have that big why or that big pain, okay, there's a why or a pain. If you don't have one of those two, you will pay us money and we will cash the checks and you will do nothing. It's I don't want that, and none of us wants that. And so that's why we require a big why or a big pain in order to work with you, because it's my good friend Larry Bellata in marriage counseling. And when couples come to him or the guy is in tears and what he does is he does an assessment at that moment. Well, she left. She moved back in with her mother or whatever. Okay, we have a big tragic moment. And then he does an assessment. How much pain are you really in? How desperate are you? Because none of this is going to work if you're ho-hum que sera sera about it. So
absolutely.
Very important.
Yeah. I mean, I don't say this lightly. I was just writing this for an article, and I don't say this lightly. It can sound, gimmicky when I say it, but I truly believe that this is what changes lives in companies. I truly believe, in particular in the jewelry industry, that it can change the world if we start imagining the why. For so long, the jewelry industry has really become quite insular in the sense that everything we think, the marketing that we do, the products that we produce, it's thinking about what gets me to my sales goal, what's the best product, what's my fast seller, how do I dump old stock. These are all things that affect us. It does not affect the customer. And what affects the customer has to be something so much deeper that if we can tap into that by getting to that why and saying, I have to do this for something greater than myself.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't say this lightly. I believe wholeheartedly it will change the world. I believe that. And
it will.
it's worth it. Even if you're Melissa down here in Pecos saying,
yep,
I want to change the world by sunsetting this thing. And you know why she does it? Because there's nobody else in her area doing it. And she goes, nobody else is going to want it. No one's going to move here for it. I'm going to keep doing it to serve the people till I just can't.
Yeah.
And that is noble. It really is.
Yep.
I believe.
Well, and honestly, I believe that the less selfish your goals are, the faster they will be achieved, because people will get on board with it. You know what I mean? If you're there to just serve you, great, that's fine, and God bless you. We all have our journeys in life, but I just feel like if goals are bigger than you and to serve others, people are going to get on board with that. Yeah. People will throw millions at you to make your dream happen when it comes to, I want to build a homeless shelter. I want to build this. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So at the same, I'm speaking a little bit out of both sides of my mouth. If you want to take care of your first half of life concerns, that's noble, and we need to do that. We need to do that in order to get to the second half of life concerns. But I've got an office here in a church in Wisconsin, and there are quite a few millionaires in this church, and none of them are happier than when they're giving that stuff away. When they're giving that stuff away, helping a program, and it's so much fun to watch. So that's our advice to Jesse is, Jesse, go find your big why. And so go fishing with your wife, take a little vacation, get out on a boat, drink a little beer, listen to some good music, and just figure out, okay, now that I'm working 5 days a week or 6 days a week, whatever you're working, and 8 hours a day, he gets up at 8 in the morning and goes to bed at 8 at night. Oh, no, wait.
Leaves at 8.
He works
12-hour days. Yeah.
Just set a goal. Set a goal like, hey, I'm going to take 1 day off. I'm going to take 1 day off, and the store will survive without me. I've got 5 or 6 paid employees there. They'll figure it out. Yeah. And if they don't figure it out, well, that'll be a good thing to train on. And for that, we've got little solutions for you all over the board. So.
Oh, but Jesse, please do this while you're fishing. Think about that extra day off that you're thinking of, and ask yourself, all of our listeners, ask yourself, if I had that time, what would I spend it doing that speaks to my greatest value, greatest purpose? Then that day off will not be enough. And you're going to go, I need another one. How do I get there? Because I've got a world to change around me. Yeah.
Yep.
I believe that.
So can you play us out with that tune that you were playing for me before on the guitar? Now that your audio was working with Zoom, and you can, you can hear it. I could play this piano all day long, as loud as possible.
It never records.
And nobody will hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
All right, bye, everybody.
All right.
Go to trainretail.com.
If we sing it, do we have to pay a licensing fee or something?
Oh, we do. Yeah. So make up the words and go and change the world. And Jesse, don't listen to this while you're on your fishing vessel. There's much better stuff to listen to. Go be awesome.
We're gonna do a little training. This is a 10-minute store training, folks, and it's me and Kyle. Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. We always surprise each other with what we're going to talk about. He does not know what we're going to talk about today.
No.
So, a lot of what we've been training on lately on the sales training platform is creating sales from repairs, creating sales from discussions. You know what? I think it's a good time where we talk about how to communicate with a customer, how to talk with a customer, how to yap, how to just shoot the stuff with them and to create conversations. And you're in Roswell, New Mexico, so you're kind of good old boys towns there, right? Town there.
Yeah, we do a different pace of life down here.
Yeah. So a customer walks in the door, So a lot of times they're either, well, let's categorize them. They're going to be either on a mission to buy something, a mission to repair something, or I don't know, maybe this is not as often, but stopping in because I've got an anniversary coming up in September and I thought I better start looking. Is there another mission that there might be on? Or is there another
so
reason?
many, right? Every time, remember this, every time a person sets foot in your store, they have a problem they want solved.
Yes.
Every time. Otherwise, why are they there?
And most of it's a watch battery they want.
Right. But it could be a deeper problem. If they don't have a problem and they're in your store, they're lost.
Yeah.
At the map. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what we did is we talked about, okay, so the person that's working with that person, you have this type of duality going on, and it's a wonderful thing. But what happens when this person, the salesperson, has to go and maybe write up a ticket, maybe check on something, special order, check on, whatever. We have to walk away from the customer, or we get somebody else to do that for us. But let's just talk about how to have a conversation in today's age of the cell phone, in today's age of maybe, I know my son, Steven, he's in his mid-30s and he came up before the cell phone, so he knows how to talk with people. But I know a lot of young people that don't know how to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah. Well, and I know a lot of old people that don't know how to have conversations with people, too, just to be fair. All right. Oh man!
So, how do you engage? What goes on at Bullock's?
There's a golden rule. This applies in Roswell, New Mexico, or Neenah, Wisconsin, or in Pecos, Texas, or Abilene, wherever.
Nashville.
Okay.
Yep.
All over the world. The golden rule of conversations and understanding people is there is one topic that people always want to talk about, without fail, themselves. Now, they also, like kind people, don't want to bring themselves up. And you'll have plenty of people who do.
Yep.
But we all like talking about ourselves. All right, so there's golden rule number 1. If you want to initiate small talk conversation that is meaningful, now I'm not talking about like, well, how's the weather out there?
Right.
We all experience the weather. It always sucks or it's not. You know what I mean? It's like rarely a good day. So, okay, get beyond that. Talk about that person. Okay, golden rule number 2, and this is the exercise that I will prescribe.
So ask questions. Was it ask questions number 1?
Number 1 is talk. We're going to talk about the person.
Yeah.
We're going to talk. The subject of our conversation will be that person. Okay. Number 2, how are we going to talk about that person? With inquisitive questions. Well, what like a great little word play there. Inquisitive questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions only.
Yeah.
About that person and be interested in that person. Okay. Now, here's what normally happens in a conversation that feels like forced small talk. So if you come in, you're the customer, I go, hey, Jimmy, how's it going today?
Good.
We
Fine.
did a little salesy thing, got what you done. Now I'm going to make some small talk and go, all right, so do you have kids?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Got a son. Yep.
Great.
Steven.
Oh, I have kids too. I have 2 kids. And they're young kids. Yeah, it's great. And being a dad.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what you just observed was Jimmy giving the shortest answer possible. He goes, yep, it is. What I just did was I listened to Jimmy. I thought, I'm going to talk about Jimmy. So I asked him, does he have kids? And he said, yes. So I checked that box. And then I heard that he has kids and I also have kids. So we have something in common. And because we have something in common, let's talk about the thing we have in common. Okay. Jimmy, you have a piano back there. You play instruments and a guitar?
Yes.
I have a guitar. Look, it's my guitar. Isn't this amazing? I have a guitar and you have a guitar. Come on.
Well, now we got to talk about what kind it is and what kind of pickup do you got in it and where do you play it? And everything.
This is often the conversations, and I'm exaggerating silliness of it a little bit here, but I want to point out that the first time I asked Jimmy about something and we started talking about what we have in common, he gave me very, very short answers. And that's because you stopped talking about that person. You started talking about yourself. And we start talking about ourselves, about the things we have in common, because we think that's how we're going to relate, because we're terrified. Like, I got to find something that we connect on.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, let me pull the curtain back. That is not true at all. The most fascinating conversations that you will have in life will be with people that you do not have stuff in common with.
Okay.
So let me flip the tables on this, and let me show you how to go beyond that initial conversation. All right. So, Jimmy, you have kids?
Yeah. Yep.
How many kids you
I
have?
got one son. His name is Steven.
Steven? How old is he?
He's about 35.
Does he live nearby?
Well, right now he's living with me, but he just bought a house.
Oh, so
he lived around the world, and he came to move in with me for a while, me and Sharon, until he got a good job in the area, and then he's moving into a house soon.
And Sharon is your wife?
Yes, Sharon is my bride.
That's cool. So he's kind of in transition, right?
Yeah.
So his house is nearby. That's awesome. I'm sure it feels nice to have your son nearby.
Listen, I mean, the kid was in Turkey. He was in Spain. He was all over the world. And our biggest prayer was just get him in the state,
Yeah.
And then, okay, maybe the area code, maybe the zip code. And so all of our prayers have been answered, by the way.
There you go. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Now, all of that was unscripted. It was very honest. I knew all that about Jimmy, but he didn't know I was going to ask that.
Right.
Here's what I just did. Instead of just asking a question about the client to turn the conversation on them, that was golden rule number 1. I went to number 2, which is keep asking inquisitive questions. Now, I've done this a long time. I was trained in counseling, which is largely to do with this. So let's just take basics, because this is a skill that you develop.
Yeah.
When you hear the person answering your first question, trying to relate to something, listen to them and think about, that's interesting. What else don't I know about this person? What else can I ask that I don't know about this person?
Yeah.
Right? So I asked about your son. I asked, well, how old is he? I didn't know that. I asked, well, where is he? I didn't know that. And you tell me. And in the course of telling me, you tell me his life, a bit of his life story, where he's at, where he's going, that you have a wife. I found out your wife's name. And if you're paying attention as a salesperson, you have just learned that can go in the file, Jimmy's wife's name, and he has a son, and here's what's happening. I can put that in the notes so that if I followed up with Jimmy, I know where I left off.
Yeah. Yep.
And at no point in that did I ever have to talk about my kids. Unless he wanted to ask, he could ask.
Sure.
But that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get a little bit deeper in conversation. So golden rule number 1, people love to talk about themselves. Golden rule number 2, keep asking inquisitive questions about that person. And I'll make a brief comment about number 3, because this is a whole nother series of trainings. Number 3 is hang out on a feeling. Hang out on a feeling. I asked you, you must feel happy that he's with you nearby.
Yeah.
And you lit up. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm so glad he was gone for so long and now he's back. Oh my gosh, this is great. Hang out on that, right? And the person will leave remembering how you made them feel. Even if it was like a negative emotion, like my son's leaving home and I'm not going to see him for a long time. That must be difficult. And they go, yeah, it's hard. I'm going to be an empty nester for real.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to leave going, that person took the time to actually listen to my feelings. Yeah. That felt good. To hang out on the feeling and don't be afraid of it. All right. So golden rule number 1, talk about them. 2, ask inquisitive questions. 3, hang out on the feeling. And the exercise you can do to practice this is with each other, right? Subliminally, as you all are watching this video, don't do it when you hang up the video because y'all will be primed for this. But at some point during the day, go to your colleague and start asking them a question about something you don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, so what have you been watching on TV? I've been watching this. Keep asking questions. Yeah. Oh, and then about 5 or 6 questions in, they're just rambling and talking about their hobbies and the TV, and then they're going to go,
Sure.
You did the thing from the video, didn't you? And you're going to go, yeah, I did. And that's
okay.
That's okay. That's how it's done.
I love that. And this isn't a linear thing where it's got to happen before you start selling jewelry. it should happen very naturally, and it should happen at a time when I was talking about the gentleman that bought the $2,900 necklace as an add-on to the $900 pair of studs. We were talking about olive burgers at a restaurant in Winneconne, 10 miles away, and that was all happening while Catherine was wrapping the first gift. So again, this is not linear. Don't worry about when this is going to happen, because if you're worrying about when that's going to happen, it's going to come off wrong.
Can I tell you a quick story? Something funny for everyone to listen to. Hopefully it's funny. But I use this. So this is a great way to develop relationships. It's great for diffusing conversations. I'll prime this story with this. When you ask questions, make them authentic. If you're asking questions just because you want to sound like you're actually interested, but you're not, people will smell that a mile away, and they will hate that. It'll feel so inauthentic. Got to actually be interested. Okay. So I had a situation yesterday, a rare one that I actually had to get pulled onto the floor to take care of. Right. So I'm an absentee owner for the most part. When I'm pulled on the floor for one of these, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it's an issue.
Let me say this. It wasn't an issue that we did anything wrong. Okay.
Right.
It was an issue that the client may have been discovering in the moment, as we were discovering, that her partner may be having an affair or breaking up with her. Okay. This is happening.
Wow.
We're all figuring this out together in the store,
Yeah.
piecing it together. And we're like, and we're kind of the ones that have to bring the news. This isn't good. And so I remember talking to her, and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. This is what I can tell you. I can't tell you more than that because I don't know. And of course, she's like not in a great headspace with that. Don't blame her at all.
Right.
And I'm just like, and it's just a silence. The conversation's been had. We've moved on. And I looked down at her shoes, and they were really cool shoes. I mean, they really were. I really thought they were cool. And I said, by the way, those shoes are awesome. And she goes, oh, thank you. I go, yeah, I don't mean to change the subject, but where'd you get those shoes? And she tells me, and we start having conversation. By the time we leave, and I'm listening to her tell me the story of these shoes, I could tell on her face, hey, thank you for the sensitivity. Right. I'm not trying to derail the subject, but thank you for not being,
sure.
This could have gone worse for her in that moment. And hopefully it didn't. So I just want to bring that up, in that if you're genuine with your questions, I really genuinely did that to change subjects a little bit, but also because I genuinely liked her shoes, and I wanted her to leave feeling better than when she came in. A little bit
better. Yeah.
We're cool is what she really needed to hear from me.
But what's neat about that? What's neat about that is there was a subliminal message in there that life goes on, and you know what? You got cool shoes, so you're set to go. Yeah, that's I mean that seriously. I don't mean that as a joke. I mean, yes, there are other things to think about in this moment.
Don't take that and think that I'm belittling the situation. That was one where, with time and experience and relationship, you just read a situation and I need to spend time talking about the conversation and not about the sale. Because we were talking about the sale, we were talking about the issues with the sale, and we could beat that dead horse forever.
Yeah.
But let's not. So anyways, okay. So there's my lesson.
I'm going to use this on airplanes. I mean, normally I'd put my earbuds in and check out, but if I need to, I'm going to use this on airplanes, airports, name it, you name it. This is beautiful. I love this. Thank you, Kyle.
Have fun, everybody, and have fun asking each other questions throughout the day, and then catching each other on, you got me. Have good conversations, guys. Have fun.
Be amazing. Yes.
Yeah, be amazing.
Right. See ya.
We hope you leave this episode a little better than when you first began. If you'd like more resources to grow your business slow, steady, and consistently, check out our on-demand video catalog at trainretail.com. Or if you have a question or frustration we can help address in your business, write to us about it. We love to help solve big, ugly problems. So hit us up at kyle@trainretail.com or jimmy@trainretail.com. Good luck out there, and we will see you next time.